Hello everyone! In this video we will cover just finished round 8 game in a World Chess Championship match Carlsen and Caruana. This chess championship match is very deep in the second half, and up to now we have seen 7 draws, and in most of the games not very exciting chess, except in round 1 where Carlsen missed to win the game, and round 6 in which Caruana had big advantage in the endgame and maybe even a win. I had decided to cover exactly this game because it looked like that there will be a fire in this game, but it was just a spark. Caruana played white and Carlsen played as black in this game, and the game started with e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, and now we got first small surprise. Up to now in this match Caruana played Rossolino third move bishop b5, but he didn't achieve much in the previous games. So he has decided now to play much sharper and more aggressive in this game in order to try to win the game, because if the match ends with even result 6-6, then we have a rapid match which will decide the winner, and we know that Carlsen is a big favorite in rapid match. So d4 was played, cd4, knight d4, and now the most flexible move actually, which is knight f6, because after knight c3 there are plenty of choices now for black. In this game it was played e5, Sveshnikov Sicilian, but let us cover a little bit theory what could have been played in this position. So beside e5 there are 3 other moves, d6, e6 and g6, which could be played in this position. If it is played d6, now white will most likely choose which line of Sicilian defense will be played. If we have bishop c4, then it is Sozin Sicilian. If we have bishop g5, then we have Richter-Rauser attack. If bishop e2 is played as the move number 6, now if, for example, black plays e6, we have transposition to a modern Scheveningen. Or it can be played e5 and after knight b3, Boleslavsky variation in Sicilian. If fifth move instead of d6 is actually e6, then we can have, for example, knight takes c6, bc6, e5, knight d5, knight e4, queen c7, attacking the pawn on e5, f4 to defend that pawn, and after queen b6 this position is considered to be good for black. After e6 move, another option for white is knight from d to b5, and now, for example, bishop b4 is possible move, and after a3, bishop c3, knight c3, d5, ed5, ed5, bishop d3, castle and castle, and we have typical IQP position, isolated queen pawn for black, in which black has space advantage, but this pawn on d5 may be a weakness in the endgame, so it is very complex position. Also, after e6, knight from d to b5, d6 is a possible move for black, and then after bishop f4, e5, we will have transposition to Sveshnikov Sicilian. Black lost one tempo first playing e6 and then e5, but also white lost a tempo first playing bishop f4 and then bishop g5, and now classical line a6, knight a3, b5, knight d5, and this is all theory. And also the move number 5 beside d6 and e6 can be g6 in this position, and then after bishop e3, bishop g7, we have several ways how this position can transpose, for example, to dragon Sicilian. After bishop c4, d6, f3, short castle, queen d2, we have transposition to dragon Sicilian. Or if instead of d6 after bishop c4 black plays short castle, then bishop b3, d6, f3, and again we can have transposition to dragon Sicilian. So that was just a very short theory background what could have happened in this game, but Carlsen decided after knight c3 to play e5, Sveshnikov Sicilian. And after knight from d to b5, d6, now the main move is bishop to g5, and we could transpose this into something what we have already seen. For example, the main line goes bishop g5, a6, knight a3, b5, knight d5, bishop e7, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, c3, short castle, knight c2, bishop g5 to take control of dark squares and to keep dark square bishop, a4, ba4, rook takes a4, a5, bishop c4, completing development and preparing castle, rook b8, b3, and then king h8 and short castle. This is the main variation which could be played. But here Caruana avoided to play the main line, and in the move 7 he played, according to the database, second option, which is knight to d5. Knight has to take because we have a threat knight c7, knight fork, so knight takes d5, and after e takes d5, this is now the moment in which there are two possible moves, knight b8 and knight e7. In the game it was played knight b8. If knight e7 is played, for example, then we can have c4, knight f5, bishop d3, bishop e7, short castle, and here we have interesting position in which black has kingside pawn majority 4 versus 3. On the other side, white has queenside pawn majority 3 versus 2. But that was not played in the game. After e d5, black played knight b8. And this is first important moment in the game in which Caruana again avoided playing the main line, which is c4 move in this position. He actually played a4. This is not new move in chess theory. Among top chess players, there is a game from 2012 which was played in London, Nakamura versus Gelfand, and Nakamura applied this idea to play a4 with the idea knight a3 and posting the knight on c4 square. Nakamura lost that game, but Caruana found some improvements in his line, and we will see that later in the game. So a4 was played in this game. Bishop e7, bishop e2, castle, knight d7. All of this have been seen earlier and also in that game between Nakamura and Gelfand from 2012. But now we got the novelty. The novelty, which is probably Caruana's home kitchen, bishop d2 move. Main move is king h1, and that move was played in that mentioned game, Nakamura-Gelfand. So bishop d2 was played in this game, and now logical move is f5 here for black. Black is taking control of the center and taking some space control on the king side. And now a5, a6, and now Caruana is completing the basic idea of knight of a4 move to post his knight on c4. Bishop d2 move had the idea, of course, to prepare a5 so that that pawn is defended after a6 and knight a3. Now black's queen cannot capture that pawn, of course. e4, knight c4. So the idea with knight move a4 is now completed. Knight e5. And here Caruana had a chance to trade this knight, but if this happens, probably the game will be pretty much drawish after d5. And let's say if now, for example, c4, then f4, bishop g4, bishop c5, trading of light squared bishops, queen e2 with probably equal position. And if after d5 he doesn't play c4, if he plays his bishop on c4, then black will probably play bishop to d6. He will blockade the d5 passed pawn because the threat was, of course, d6 with a discover check, and again position is around equal. So since Caruana decided to play this game to win, we have seen that with his opening choice and third move d4, he played knight to b6 in the move 16. Instead of trading knights, he played knight b6, attacking the rook, so rook b8 is forced move. And now very good, very important move f4. It is very important in this position to stop black from playing f4, so f4 is excellent response. E takes f4, almost forced, bishop takes, e takes f3, bishop takes f3, and now typical move for Carlsen's playing style. In this game now he played g5 move. This is very sharp and very aggressive continuation, which has a sort of disadvantage, which is weakening his own king. But that is Magnus Carlsen, world champion, g5 move. Now, very important moment now for Caruana, how to proceed in this game. He didn't play g3 move, but that was very interesting continuation. The idea now is to stop advancing of black's pawns on the king side and to try to keep bishop pair if knight doesn't take on f3. He would play bishop g2 and keep this bishop. If knight takes f3, then black will not have anymore this great looking knight in the center of the board. And after queen f3, f4, queen h5, excellent move. And after, let's say, bishop f6, c3 to defend the pawn, and after bishop e5, rook from a to e1. And definitely in this position there is some sort of small advantage for white. This was probably, I cannot say better, but one very promising continuation g3 move which Caruana didn't play. Instead of this g3 move, Caruana played c4 move. So this move has some good sides and bad sides. Good side is that Caruana wants to play bishop c3, but he doesn't want to have a backward c2 pawn. But the downside of this move is that now c4 square is occupied and knight cannot go back to c4 and try to be closer to the center of the board. Also, another idea and let's say advantage of this move is that later white can push c5, what actually happened in the game, and trying to complicate position and to create passed pawn on d file. f4 was continuation, and now bishop c3. That is probably premature played. Better move was bishop to e4. The idea of bishop e4 is to stop black's light squared bishop development to f5, which is the best possible square for that bishop. If now bishop goes to f5, we are actually not stopping, but we will trade this light squared bishop, and this trading is actually good for white because his pawns are on light squares, and that is why his light squared bishop is not great piece, and trading light squared bishops is good because of this d6 pawn which is on a dark square, and both sides have dark squared bishops now. And possible continuation, rook f5, queen c2, rook goes back to f7, and rook from a to e1, which is again definitely slightly better position for white. That was definitely better continuation than the move which was played in the game, which is premature move bishop c3. And now Carlsen used his chance and immediately played bishop f5. Now, since he missed to play bishop e4 earlier and to trade light squared bishops and enter slightly better position, he found the best move, Caruana found the best move, the most promising move to try to complicate in this game and to try finally to win one game in this match. That is c5 move. He's actually sacrificing a pawn here and trying to obtain initiative. That was the best choice. Now Carlsen took knight f3, but he was able also to play bishop f6, and after, let's say, queen d2 to connect the rooks, knight f3, rook f3, dc5, and d6 with complications really, but with a position in which no matter that black is a pawn up, white has huge initiative, and I'm sure that all players would rather play this position as white than as black. But that was not played in the game. After c5, Carlsen took knight f3, and after queen f3, accepted, of course, this pawn sacrificing, and now Caruana has a task to prove that his pawn sacrificing was justified. He played rook from a to d1. It's a logical move to support his d pawn to advance to a promotion square, but bishop d6 is very logical answer. And this was maybe a critical moment in which it was not clear was rook from a to e1 better move than rook from a to d1. After rook from a to d1, bishop d6, as we said, blockading move. And also this move is preparing g4, because now f4 pawn is defended. And this is another very important and critical moment for Caruana. He had a safe choice, which he has played in the game, which is h3, or something which is more risky, to play knight c4 and allow g4, after which he will be forced to play queen f2 and give to Carlsen plenty of tactical options based on f3 and g3 moves which could follow later in the game. That would be very unclear position. But Caruana decided to play safe, and he played h3 move to stop g4. And now Carlsen played the best move, and probably the only move which is actually keeping the game equal, that is queen to e8. Let us see now some possible continuations, what could happen beside queen e8. If Carlsen, for example, plays rook e8 in this position, then rook from f to e1, and after trading of the rooks, and let's say queen f8, knight c4, rook d8, and queen h5. Again, the pawn on g5 is under attack, rook is controlling e file, excellent dark squared bishop on c3. No matter that black has a bishop pair, this is definitely advantage for white in this position. Or if instead of rook e8, if he plays queen c7, for example, now we have queen h5 again, and now bishop e7 defending the pawn on g5 would be very big tactical blunder, and that would lose the game instantly. After great tactics, d6. Now bishop is forced to take, and after queen h6 we have double threat. Piece on d6 and checkmate on g7, and this is lost position completely now for black. Also g5 is hanging, so there is no move. But after queen h5, it is not forced to play bishop e7, of course. He can play queen to d8, but anyway, after rook from d to e1, white will keep some advantage in this game, and he will definitely be slightly better. But again, Carlsen is proving why he is really a world champion so far, and he played queen e8, the best move in the position. Knight c4, and now queen g6, logical move. At this moment, it was probably clear that the big fire which we expected in this game will not happen, and that the game will probably end as a draw. Caruana didn't find anything better, and probably there is nothing better than knight takes d6, queen takes d6, and h4. That was actually the idea when he decided to trade knight for a bishop on d6 for this blockading bishop, simply to break up this pawn structure on the king side and to enter in a very safe position, which now he can't ever lose. So g takes h4 was played, queen takes f4, queen takes f4, rook takes f4, and now Carlsen played h5, but it was very interesting continuation h3. And after g takes h3, bishop h3, trading rooks for white is of course not good, but there is rook c4, very good move. And after rook from b to c8 defending this pawn, king h2, bishop f5, and d6. But there is rook f7 move to stop advancing of this pawn, and excellent move for white b4. It may look like that white will get some big advantage, but there is a survival move for black here, that is rook e8. And now white will win the pawn on c5 and equalize material, but his king doesn't have protection and he cannot make progress in this game. Simply here there is no chance for white to win. If he plays too much risky, he may only lose the game because of very, very weak king. That was interesting continuation after h3 move, but Carlsen played safe continuation h5, and now of course rook takes h4 now would be very bad, because after bishop g4 white's rook will be completely out of the game, and there will be no chance now to make any progress. Now Caruana would need to find a way how to untangle his pieces, but of course he didn't play that. He played normally rook to e1 here, bishop g4, something what we expected that will happen, and rook f6. Rook f6, the last chance to try to do something. If black rook doesn't take on f6, he threatens rook g6 with a win, but unfortunately that can never happen, because Carlsen of course knows all of that, and he took rook f6, bishop f6. It was clear now that the game will end as a draw. Carlsen now played king f7, but very interesting continuation was b5, and if a b6, just rook b6 attacking bishop, and after bishop e5, rook b3 with rook d3 idea, with a clear draw of course. Or if after b5 move, rook goes to e7, so if he doesn't take en passant a b6, then rook f8, and now just trying to trade these rooks. And after rook f5, now since d5 pawn is hanging, the game must end as a draw. So this was interesting tactical way to get draw in this position, but instead of that, Carlsen again played safe move, king f7, bishop h4, rook e8, rook f1, king g8, rook f6, but this allows black to penetrate his rook along the e file on the second rank, and it is clear now that there is no progress here. Rook g6, king f8, d6, rook d2, and after rook g5, black will win the pawn on d6, white will win the pawn on c5. At this moment, the game ended as a draw. We still have to hope that in last 4 games of this match, there will be at least one decided game. If you like to see some specific content in my video chess lessons, please place the comment below my video on YouTube. And also take a look at the suggested videos, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel.